Okay, we're going to write this if, elif and else construct, which we can see in the pseudocode here. And if you've been following along the videos that I've done in order, I've just completed the JavaScript one and pointed out that we've got a space between the else and the if, whereas in PHP we don't have a space between the else and the if. I'm mentioning that because we're going to Java, and Java also is like JavaScript, does not contains a space between the else and the if, and that's really the only difference. So let's hit Java. I'm going to lose most of my screen here, so you'll have to sort of remember what the design was. So I'm going to set the num back to 6, and I'm going to check it. I'm going to move my else out of the way because I'm going to write an else if in here, and I need a condition inside the round parenthesis. So if num is equal to 5, and then an open and close curly brackets, and then print out what I want. System dot out dot print line num times 2. Okay, so there's my first one. So if we take a look at the Notepad++ on the pseudocode, we're doing num times 2 if it's 5, we're doing num times 4 if it's 4. So that's my next else if statement. Else if num is equal to 4 curly braces, system dot out dot print line num times 4, semicolon at the end, and that is my last one. My next statement is my else statement and setting num to 0. So I'm going to drag my else statement back. Shouldn't have put so many spaces in, never mind. My else statement back, and I'm going to set num to 0. And I've got this final statement here just to print out so I can see my else statement working. So that is the JavaScript. So if I run my program, there you go, there's my first attempt. It said 6 and 6. So I set num to 6 there. I checked if it was 6, it was, so I printed it out. It skipped out of the if statements and hit this line and printed out the second if, second 6. So this time I'm going to change my num for 5. Run my program. And there we go. So I set num to 5 and it's printed 10 and 5, which was expected. So num was 5. Didn't match with this statement, so skipped to this line. Checked if num was 5, it was, so printed out num times 2, which was 10. And then skipped over everything else to this one and printed 5. So I got 10 and 5. So as soon as it satisfies a condition, it skips out. So I am going to now set num to 4, so it matches with the third one. Run the program. 16 and 4. So what's happening? Num is set to 4. Checks with that. It doesn't match, so it checks with that. Doesn't match, checks with that. It does match, so it prints that line. 4 times 4 is 16. Then it jumps out of the if statement and prints 4. So I get 16 and 4. And finally, to check my else statement, if I set num to 25 and run that program, it gives me 0. Num is 25, doesn't match that, doesn't match that, doesn't match that, and so this is a default condition, sets num to 0 and prints num out as 0. So that is else if in Java. Please notice that there is a space between the else and the if.